Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Streamline English. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Get comfortable and take a slow breath in and out. You don't need to understand every word tonight. Just listen and follow the story with me. Did you know that one of the greatest rulers in the history of Russia, a woman who ruled the largest country on earth for 34 years, was not even Russian at all? She was born far away in a small German family, a minor princess of no great importance, with no real power and no great fortune. As a young girl, no one expected her to become anything remarkable. And yet this foreign princess would travel to a strange land, learn its language and win its heart, seize its throne in a single dramatic day, and rule it so well for so long that history would remember her as the Great. Only a handful of rulers in all of history have ever earned that title, and she was one of them. How does an outsider, a foreign girl with no power, come to rule the largest empire on earth? Her name was Catherine the Great, and this is her story. If you enjoy learning English through true stories like this, please subscribe to Streamline English. It really helps our little channel grow. Thank you, my friend. Our story begins in the year 1729 in a part of Europe that was then part of Germany. A baby girl was born into a noble family, but not an important one. Her family were royalty in name, but they were minor royalty, without great wealth or power. The little girl was given a long German name, and as a child, she was simply a clever, curious princess from a small and unremarkable court. But even as a young girl, she was different. She was sharp, intelligent, and ambitious. She loved to learn. She read books eagerly, and she thought carefully about the world. She was not content to be ordinary. Somewhere inside her, there burned a quiet ambition, a sense that she was meant for a bigger life than the small court she was born into. In those days, the futures of royal daughters were decided by marriage. A princess was a piece in a great game played between kingdoms, married off to form alliances. And so, when this young princess was still a teenager, only around 14 or 15 years old, an astonishing opportunity arrived. A message came from far away, from the powerful empire of Russia. The Russian ruler was looking for a bride, for the young man who would one day become the next Russian emperor. And this little German princess had been chosen as a candidate. It was a dazzling chance to leave her small home and travel to mighty Russia, to perhaps one day become an empress. But it also meant leaving everything she knew, her family, her home, her country, her language, and stepping, alone, into a vast and foreign world. She did not hesitate. She went. So the young princess made the long journey to Russia, and when she arrived, she found herself a complete stranger in a strange land. Everything was different. The language was different. She did not speak a word of Russian. The religion was different. The customs, the food, the climate, the people, all of it was new and unfamiliar. She was young, alone, and far from everyone she had ever loved. Many people in her position would have felt lost, homesick, and afraid. But here is where we see the remarkable strength of her mind. The young princess made a powerful decision. She decided that she would not remain a foreigner. She would become Russian, more Russian, in a way, than the Russians themselves. And so she threw herself into learning. She studied the Russian language with fierce determination, staying up late at night to practice, walking barefoot in the cold to keep herself awake, while she memorized her lessons until she could speak it well. She embraced the Russian religion and adopted a new Russian name. She studied the country's customs and history. She wanted, with all her heart, to understand and to belong to this great nation that was now her home. This was not only ambition, though it was that. It was also wisdom. She understood something deep, that to lead a people you must first understand them and love what they love and earn their trust. While others around her stayed proud and foreign, she became one of the people. And, slowly, the Russians began to take this clever, devoted young woman into their hearts. But her personal life was not happy. Her marriage to the future emperor was a deeply unhappy one. The young man she had married was, by most accounts, immature and difficult, and the two of them did not love each other. For years, Catherine endured a lonely and frustrating life at court, watching, waiting, and quietly growing wiser and more capable. She read deeply, she observed everything, and she prepared herself, though for what? Even she, perhaps, did not yet fully know. And then the moment of crisis arrived. After many years, the old ruler of Russia died, and Catherine's husband became the new emperor. But he was a poor ruler. He was unpopular, foolish in his decisions, and he quickly made enemies among the very people he needed most, the powerful nobles and, crucially, the army. In just a short time on the throne, he managed to turn much of Russia against him. The country grew restless and unhappy under his rule. Catherine, meanwhile, was everything her husband was not. Over her years in Russia, she had become beloved. She was intelligent, dignified, and genuinely devoted to her adopted country. The Russian people, and especially the soldiers and the nobles, looked at the foolish emperor, and then looked at his wise, capable wife, and they began to think that Russia would be far better off in her hands. This is the fruit of all those years of patient effort. While her husband had been arrogant and careless, Catherine had been learning, listening, and earning loyalty. And now, in the moment of crisis, that loyalty would prove to be everything. A group of powerful supporters, including officers of the army's elite guards, came to Catherine. They were ready to act. They wanted her to rule Russia, not her husband. And Catherine, with all her courage and intelligence, was ready to seize the moment. What happened next was swift and dramatic. With the support of the army guards behind her, Catherine acted boldly. The soldiers declared their loyalty to her. She rode out. The story is told that she dressed in a military uniform and rode at the head of the troops to claim power. The support for her was so strong, and her husband's support so weak, that the takeover happened with remarkable speed. Her husband, abandoned by nearly everyone, was forced to give up the throne, and Catherine, the foreign princess, the outsider, who had made herself Russian, became the sole ruler of all of Russia. Empress Catherine II. It was an extraordinary rise. A minor German princess, with no birthright to the Russian throne at all, now ruled the largest country on the face of the earth, a vast empire stretching across 2 continents, from Europe deep into Asia. But seizing power is one thing. Holding it and using it well is another thing entirely. Many who grab a throne lose it quickly or rule badly. Catherine would do neither. She was about to begin one of the longest and most brilliant reigns in all of Russian history. Catherine ruled Russia for 34 years, and under her rule, Russia rose to become one of the most powerful and respected nations in the world. Historians often call her reign a golden age. She was an enormously capable ruler. She worked tirelessly, often rising before dawn and laboring for hours every day on the business of the empire. She was clever, practical, and deeply engaged in every part of governing her vast country. She greatly expanded Russia's borders, adding new lands and bringing the already enormous empire to an even greater size and power. Russia grew stronger, richer, and more important on the world stage than it had ever been before. But Catherine wanted more than just power and land. She loved learning, art, and ideas, and she wanted to bring the best of European culture and knowledge into Russia. She founded schools. She supported writers, thinkers, and artists. She exchanged letters with some of the greatest philosophers of her age in Europe, discussing ideas about how a country should be governed. And she was a passionate collector of art. She gathered an enormous, magnificent collection of paintings and treasures, a collection so vast that it became the foundation of one of the greatest art museums in the world, which still draws millions of visitors today. Under Catherine, Russia was not only a military power, but a center of culture, learning, and beauty. She had taken the country she once arrived in as a foreign stranger, and she had helped lift it to new heights of greatness. Catherine the Great ruled until her death as an old woman in the year 1796. She left behind an empire larger, stronger, and more cultured than the one she had taken charge of, and she left behind a name that history would never forget. The life of Catherine the Great is a story of reinvention, of a person who completely remade herself and rose far beyond the small beginnings she was born into. Remember where she started, a minor princess of no great importance, from a small place. She was not born to rule Russia. She had no natural right to that throne. By birth, she was an outsider. And yet, through intelligence, determination, and an extraordinary willingness to learn and adapt, she became one of the greatest rulers that great nation ever had. Her secret was, in large part, her love of learning and her willingness to fully embrace something new. When she arrived in a strange country, she did not cling to the old and familiar. She learned the new customs. She made the new world her own, and that openness, that hunger to learn and adapt, was the foundation of everything she achieved. The people who go the farthest are often not those born in the best place, but those most willing to learn, to adapt, and to make a new world their own. So tonight, why do I tell you this story? Because you, too, are doing something Catherine did. You are stepping into a new world, the world of a new language. English, right now, may feel as foreign to you as Russia once felt to that young German princess. The words are strange. The sounds are unfamiliar. Sometimes you may feel like an outsider, far from the comfort of your own language. But remember what Catherine did. She did not stay a stranger. She leaned in. She practiced late into the night. She made the foreign thing her own, and in time she belonged. You are doing exactly the same. Every word you learn, every story you listen to, makes English a little less foreign and a little more yours. One day, this language that feels so strange tonight will feel like home. You are not just visiting English. You are slowly making it your own. So keep learning, my friend. Keep adapting. You are braver and more capable than you know. If this story inspired you, please give it a like and subscribe to Streamline English. It truly helps us grow. And tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? I love to see how far these stories travel. Until next time, my friend, keep learning, keep rising, and have a wonderful day.